What's up YouTube, Gemini Johnny back again with another new series for you. Today we're going to be taking a look at some of the best TikTok conspiracy theory videos I can find. I love a good conspiracy theory. I always have since I was a little kid. I've always thought aliens were cool. I've always thought government conspiracy theories were always some of my favorites, especially the ones that turn out to be true, which is kind of a lot of them. So I might take a little more time to talk about these than I do with like the creepy TikToks, just to give my thoughts on them, maybe try to poke holes in them. Yeah, if you're looking for me to be a yes man to all of these conspiracy theories and you think that's what these videos are going to be, probably not. Although I love conspiracy theories, I think most of them are probably a load of crap. And I was into conspiracy theories back before they all got bastardized by a group that shall remain unnamed so that I don't get demonetized. Which, by the way, I think is a CIA op, but that's a conversation that I'm sure we'll get into at some point. So yeah, if you like conspiracy theories and you want to talk about them, then this is the video for you. So I've got on my favorite conspiracy theory t-shirt. I may end up with a tinfoil hat by the end of this. Who knows? So without further ado, let's jump right in.
Craziest conspiracy theories, part 4. And today's conspiracy theory is about mind control.
Ooh, hit the like button.
Today, we're talking MK
Yeah, hit that
Ultra.
like button.
And no, MK Ultra is not the latest Mortal Kombat game. And I'll go ahead and tell you, this one's much different than the previous conspiracies we've done because this one is true 100%. MK Ultra was a project by the CIA that actually applied mind control techniques to unwilling participants. That's right, on US and Canadian citizens. This included drugging them with psychoactive drugs such as LSD. The idea was to try to figure out how to mind control hostages to get the most amount of information. Some of the things they did included electroshocks, hypnosis, isolation, even verbal and sexual abuse, and other forms of torture to their own citizens.
Yeah.
This happened at over 80 locations in the United States and Canada. While all the files from the 1950s project were ordered to be destroyed, it became public in 1977.
Yeah, that was just off of the Wikipedia page. Imagine what we don't know. Yeah, that one's really awful. And yeah, probably one of the biggest reasons why those are my favorite. And not because of what happened, obviously, but because we know for a fact that it happened. We have many official government documents documenting, although we've lost a lot, documenting exactly what, well, some of exactly what happened while they were running MK Ultra. And it's horrific. There's some good documentaries. There's a lot of information out about it, but there's one documentary about the son of a man who his father allegedly fell out of a window of like a 15-story hotel or something. Come to find out, he was probably dosed with a high amount of LSD by the CIA running MK Ultra. I think that's how it went. Something like that. I don't know. I watched the documentary. It was really good. I think it might have been a series. I don't remember. I'm really cold. I'm like, oh my God, I'm freezing. I might have to go put on a jacket. But if you're wondering why my voice is like shaky, it's because I'm freezing right now. It's so cold in here. Sorry, I to get on my... If I put it up, it's like a detective jacket. So I probably should have let roll it, but oh well. You guys won't judge me for not rolling my jacket, right? I like this. And I had a pipe. Yeah, the Troll of Blood says he went through here. I don't know. Alright, sorry. I'm just really cold, so I had to get a jacket. Let's get back to the video.
Is Britney Spears being held hostage? If you follow Britney on Instagram, you might notice that her account is a bit strange. I'll show you. So here's her Instagram. You can see that kind of her selfies are taken by someone else, it looks like, and they're all pretty much the same angle. Her makeup is super messy. She's wearing pretty much the same clothes in all her posts. Now, Britney does post a lot of dancing videos on her Instagram, and I've noticed she's done this one thing repeatedly. I'll show you what I mean. These are two separate videos, and you can see that she keeps doing whatever the fuck that is. And if you go in her comments, all her fans, all these people are saying, Britney, are you okay? This and that, da-da-da-da. Tell me why she posted this.
The first question that you mainly ask me is what my favorite song is.
Girl, you know no one asks about your favorite fucking song.
And the first main question that you guys ask me is what's my favorite holiday?
In both videos, she's swaying back and forth, which could mean she's nervous, but why would she be nervous? In this post, she said, natural light reveals the magic in your eyes. Her mascara says, call 911.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. I think anybody that looks at Britney Spears' Instagram can see that something is weird there. Whether that weirdness is something like that girl just described and she's being forced to make all these, or if that weirdness is just that she was a child star that her mind has been warped and abused by the powers of Hollywood. And also both could be true. So, yeah, I don't know. Man, that whole situation makes me so sad. Had a huge crush on Britney Spears when I was a kid. I had her posters in my wall. That's embarrassing. Not in my wall, they were on my wall as a kid. Not anymore. Just to make that very clear. I do have a Britney Spears t-shirt though. I don't wear it. It's a little too small. But I got it at Target. I'm still cold, sorry. I got it at Target. Yeah, I don't know. I hope she's happy. I hope she's, you know, living her life and happy.
Here's a fun NBA conspiracy for you. In the 2017 NBA playoffs, a player named Markieff Morris, who played for the Washington Wizards, hurt his ankle in Game 1 versus Celtics. This was only 11 minutes into the game and he didn't return. The injury looked like he would be out for a couple weeks and no one expected him to play in Game 2. But he did play in Game 2, and he played as if he was never injured. In fact, he had his best game statistically of the playoffs at that point. Here's where it gets interesting. Markieff Morris has an identical twin brother named Marcus, who also plays in the NBA. His brother was playing for the Pistons, who were already eliminated from the playoffs. The theory is that Marcus played for his brother, because both brothers have the exact same tattoos and don't have any super apparent differences.
The wildest part of that is that they have the same tattoos, because that was my first thought, was that, like, surely somebody would tell their tattoos apart, but that's some commitment to your twin to get the exact same tattoos. And it's not like they have two tattoos. They were covered, bro. That's wild.
Have you guys heard the conspiracy theory that Steve Jobs is still alive? This one is fucking crazy. For those who don't know, Steve Jobs was the co-founder of Apple who helped launch it to where it is today. Sadly, he passed away back in 2011 after his battle with pancreatic cancer. Or did he? Back in 2019, Reddit went fucking crazy when one of its users uploaded a picture of a man in Egypt. A man who looks identical to Steve Jobs. People started lighting up the comments section, but not to disprove it, but to say that they believe it. People are convinced because not only did Steve Jobs specify that he would want to go to Egypt one day, but he was also heavily into Buddhism and spirituality, hence the way this man is dressed. Steve Jobs was also known for crossing his legs while sitting and holding his hand to his chin while he was in deep thought, like the man right here. And everyone said he was just crazy enough to do it. The only thing disproving this theory is that the man is wearing an analog watch, not an Apple Watch. But if you were hiding, would you wear the watch of the company you founded? What do you think?
My first thought was it would be hilarious if he was wearing an Apple Watch, but yeah, I think if you faked your own death and you were a, you know, worldwide known figure of one of the biggest companies in the world, or as the founder of one of the biggest companies in the world, you probably wouldn't wear a literal GPS device on your wrist at all times, you know? That being said, there's plenty of stories of doppelgangers, and I'm sure there's other men out there that look just like Steve Jobs, but that's weird. He looked just like Steve Jobs and sat like him. His man, like, obviously it was a picture, we don't really get to see his mannerisms, but yeah, it would be interesting. That would be crazy if he was still alive in Egypt or wherever. Those are fun ones. I like the person faked their own death to get away from the fame and stuff, because it's fun to think about a bunch of, like, not actually dead celebrities all just kicking it on an island somewhere and living up life, enjoying the fruits of their, you know, labor and fame that they gave us, or work that they gave us for whatever it was they were famous for. Hopefully it's only people that are famous for good things. Famous artists and musicians and people that, not people that were, like, I hope Jeffrey Epstein isn't on that island. That's what I'm trying to say. And yeah, I'm sure we'll get into that. That's, trust me, I've followed that story for years, so I got plenty to say on that as well. Yeah. Still developing, obviously. Whatever happened to Ghislaine Maxwell? Been in prison for 2 years now. We don't know anything. So here's a video summing up 2020. Pay close attention. I don't trust the system. It's just a plant. That's what the caption says. Uploaded 2015, April 21st. What the fuck? I need to watch that again. Sorry, I was busy reading the captions.
Would you?
I told you this video might be a little slower because sometimes I gotta go back and rewatch it because what was that? That was a lot to take in. Let's just watch it again. Posted in 2015. Keep that in mind. Ferguson, Stara Leone, Zen Lock, Loke, whatever. Sony Top Secret. There's justice for Mike Brown. Like, there's. Oh wait, I think Mike Brown happened in like 2014. I think Mike Brown happened in like 20. But I do want to. Let me see new window over here. So the thing is, I think you can. I mean, that's all of his stuff is kind of like that. But I think that was too. I feel like he had to have gone back to edit it or something. This is crazy. Can you go back to an old Instagram video and change it? Instagram unfortunately does not allow photos of videos to be edited, amended, or added once the post is uploaded. You can only edit, add, or amend the caption and comments. You can repost. Now how? Looks like Internet City covered this already. A bunch of comments are saying they came to this because of Internet City, so that's cool. Internet City. I actually don't know. I haven't heard of Internet City either, so I'm gonna check them out real quick. Who are they? Oh no, I have heard of these guys. My bad. I didn't know that. They look funny. I have seen some of their clips before. They are funny, but their video that they have is their trailer on their channel is really funny. So go check them out. It's just Internet City on YouTube. But they're funny. I guess they probably did a reaction to this too. So dang, goals, man. They got a whole bunch. They got a ton of videos. They got 2.1 thousand. That's crazy. I'm trying to get there. Yes, sir. Anyway, all right. Sorry. I wanted to look into that because so I googled it. You can't edit an old video. I would love to get a hold of this dude and know how he did this. Like, who is this? Like, what does he know? Who is this Zen Lock person? Caption said it all. What did he put in this caption? It said I don't trust the system. It's just a plant. All right, yeah. I don't know. I might try to look into this some more, but maybe I can interview him. He's like an artist. I'm sure he'd love to. He's probably way bigger than me though. Let's see. Yeah, he's got 115,000. He doesn't want to be on my channel. He don't care. But his stuff is cool. I'm gonna follow him. That's cool. Yeah, I did Google it, and you can't. It says Instagram unfortunately does not allow photos or videos to be edited, amended, or added once a post is uploaded. You can only edit, add, or amend the caption and comments. You can repost, and if need be, delete the original post. Enjoy your photography. That's wild. All right, it's back to video. Sorry.
This is Stanley Myers.
Oh,
he created a car
great.
that runs on water.
It's not great.
Well, hydrogen, but
favorites.
water. See, this invention would have changed the world. So a lot of oil-rich nations were sitting there and trying to buy the patent from him, but he wouldn't sell. If the world wasn't dependent on gas anymore, imagine how much money would change hands. Since they couldn't buy the patent, they sat there and tried to debunk him. They claimed he was a fraud and all that, while still trying to buy the patent. Our own government and foreign governments started to harass him. He said he feared for his life. Then guess what happened? He went to a restaurant with his brother to meet some Belgian investors, and he died. He died yelling and screaming and throwing up black shit, saying that he was poisoned. But the coroner said he had a brain aneurysm, and now his brother refuses to talk about it. He also did a whole video on exposing the New World Order.
Yes, see what I mean? Not great, but really interesting story. Dude invented a car that runs on water. Said for a long time the government was out to get him after a long legal battle with the government. And that is just a horrible death at a restaurant. Oh, yeah, that'd be rough. All right, it's a sad way to go, but I guess that's what happens when you challenge the, status quo, right?
Strangest unsolved cases around the world, starting in Australia. In August of 1994, a fisherman was on the Hawkesbury River when he felt a strong tug against his fishing net, but what he pulled up was a heavy piece of steel shaped like a crucifix, and attached was the remains of a human. The police discovered it was a man's body that had initially been covered in plastic and intentionally arranged on the crucifix, which had been custom built and would have been too heavy for a single person to lift and dump in the river. There was no matching missing persons report, and because he had been in the water between 6 and 12 months, his fingertips and facial features had eroded, so his identity remained unknown. Until 2018, when advances in DNA technology identified him as Max Tansevsky, but despite now knowing his identity, his case remains unsolved.
The unsolved case of D.B. Cooper. On Wednesday, November 24th, 1971, a man boarded a plane heading from Portland to Seattle. All he brought with him was a suitcase and a paper bag. Midway through the flight, Cooper handed a flight attendant a note and told her he had a bomb. He instructed the flight attendant to sit down next to him and he showed her the bomb. In the suitcase were 4 sticks of dynamite and a bunch of wires. He then told her to write down his demands and take him to the pilot. He wanted $200,000 in $20 bills put in a backpack. He requested 4 parachutes, 2 front chutes and 2 back chutes, a fuel truck to immediately refuel the plane when they land, and not to try anything funny or he'll set off the bomb. When they landed in Seattle, Cooper traded the passengers for the items he had requested. He then told the plane to take off and head for Mexico City, but to fly below 10,000 feet. Shortly after the plane had taken off, Cooper opened the rear doors and jumped out of the plane somewhere near the Washington and Oregon border. 9 years later, a boy found a brown paper bag with $20 bills that matched the serial numbers of the money given to Cooper, totaling $5,800. Until this day, Cooper and the remaining money are still missing.
You have any good explanations for D.B. Cooper? I think he was just a really smart dude that, decided that that's how he wanted to get his start. I think he probably came from nothing, didn't have any options, and realized he could probably make a quick, if he got away with it, at least to get $100,000, If he asked for 200, you could probably at least get $100,000 out of him. Back then, that was a lot of money. I mean, it's still a lot of money, but back then you could really set yourself up for life with that, I mean, you probably could today too, but a quick little 100,000, pocket change. The D.B. Cooper case, obviously a classic. Nobody's ever solved it. I think he was probably a former government agent of some sort. Whether I think he was either high-level military or CIA or something, and he knew exactly what he needed to do to get away with that. I don't think he ever meant anyone any harm. I think he knew that they would comply, because back then it's just what you did. That wasn't a thing that happened back then. It might not happen today. They'd probably take your ass out today once you landed to get the money and stuff. They get the hostages out, maybe, and then they just go in and blast you, bro. But back then they were just like, yeah, give him what he wants. Maybe he won't hurt anybody. And he didn't, so that was good. I don't think he ever meant to hurt anyone. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Nobody got hurt. He got away. I think most likely, the money's never been found in his body. So a lot of people think he died on the jump. I think, like I said, I think he was trained in parachuting. I don't think you just jump out of a plane without ever doing it before. So I think he got that training from somewhere. And he knew exactly what he was doing. So shouts out D.B. Cooper, or whatever his real name was. I wonder if he's still out there. He might be an old man out there somewhere today. Because if he was like, what was that, in the 50s, right? Oh, shit. Let me see. I know it said, but Cooper, 1970, 71, that was what, like 52 years ago? 52 years ago? 71? So, yeah, if he was 20, if he was in his early 20s, he'd be in his 70s now, which I think he was described as being in his like 30s or 40s. So he might be in his 80s or 90s now. But he could, imagine, D.B. Cooper could be sitting in an old folks home somewhere, just whittling the last of his days away, playing Yahtzee and doing 30-piece puzzles. The man who caused a national uproar about flying safety. Yeah, crazy that he could just be out there somewhere still. And maybe he went on, I wonder if he went on to do other crimes. Like, he probably set up a business and did a whole bunch of white-collar crimes after that. Because that's what you do, right? The American dream.
The greatest conspiracy theories of all time. Are these fact or fiction? We may never know. It's been 50 years since Neil Armstrong allegedly landed on the moon. But my sources tell me the US government, eager to beat Russia in the space race, faked the lunar landing. People in 1969 could barely watch TV without a 5-foot antenna. You think they're landing on the moon? Doubtful. Was JFK killed by the KGB? The Mafia? Could be all of the above. Or it could be none of the above. Did Jeffrey Epstein actually take his own life? Or was it the act of a few famous individuals he had compromising information on? Yes. Has the government suppressed information that reveals the Earth is actually a flat, infinite plane? Obviously not. Did the mysterious Malaysia Airlines flight just vanish into thin air? Or was it digitally hijacked by hackers who rerouted the plane to Antarctica? Your guess is as good as mine.
The moon landing being fake, obviously another classic. Yeah, I mean, look, it is plausible that Kubrick filmed that and they faked it all just to win the space race. And I've talked about it in some of my videos in the past of how it's weird that NASA engineers and scientists will refer to getting to space as opposed to having gone to space. And I don't know, man. Like, I'm not smart enough to like really form an opinion on whether space is real. Because it seems like it's real. Most likely, it seems like it's real. It seems like there would be too many actors involved to lie about it for it not to be real. There's too many people trying to find stuff in space and trying to make their mark by making some new space discovery. If somebody was committing their life to that and they made the discovery that we've been being lied to, they would tell us. Like, they would show us the evidence because they would want their name to go down in history. So it doesn't seem likely, but it does seem plausible that we could have faked the moon landing, like filmed that in a sound stage, or filmed that on a sound stage, and then just faked the whole thing. It's possible, because back then, we were barely connected. We had TV, and that was it. So we knew what we were told. And the JFK thing, yeah, that one's super sketch. Super sketch. Don't do that probably. But yeah, the JFK thing is super sketch. I've been there, like to the site in Dallas. And look, it's possible that he could have made the shot, but I don't know about making, 3 shots? Again, maybe 1, but as quickly as they were, I don't know, man. It was pretty far. It definitely could have been multiple angles, but Occam's razor, right? The least complicated answers, I think that's what that is, right? I'm sounding dumb right now. But the least complicated answer is probably the answer. Like, somebody probably killed him, and they probably, I don't know if this is the simplest answer, but somebody killed him, for sure. It could have just been that it was Lee Harvey Oswald, and then Jack Ruby killed him, and then they just both happened to die. But it's also possible that JFK had made a lot of political enemies, and they teamed up to have him taken out. I mean, I think that's probably the most likely. And whether we'll ever know, I don't know. But maybe someday we'll get a non-corrupt politician to let us know these things. But I don't think that's why you go into politics. You go into politics to become rich.
The strangest unsolved mysteries from each state. Today, by popular demand, we have Maryland. This is a picture of Daniel Beckwith, who hired Askia Kafra to dig these unexplained, mysterious tunnels deep in his basement of his home in Bethesda, Maryland. And one day, the police get a call that there's a fire in Daniel's house. So when they arrive, they see Daniel standing outside of the house. And when the fire investigators go and investigate, they find this hole in the concrete floor of his basement. And so when they explored a little more, they find Askia's body down there. The detective said that these tunnels were at least 20 feet below the surface and at least 200 feet long. Daniel was not doing this legally, and he knew that he had Askia working in very unsafe working conditions. Again, not legal. Daniel claims that he picked up Askia from his house in Silver Spring, Maryland, and then drove him to Manassas, Virginia, which is very close to where I live, with these darkened blackout sunglasses on, so that he wouldn't know where he's going. But according to the police, he never actually did that and just drove him to his house in Bethesda and only let him take off the sunglasses once he was in the basement. And Daniel was charged with involuntary manslaughter. Do you think he did it on purpose?
Strangest Unsolved Mysteries from Every U.S. State, Part 17, Washington. This is the story behind Jason Padgett, a heavy drinker and partier who became a mathematical genius overnight. In 2002, Jason was a furniture salesman, and he partied hard at the bar every single weekend. One night, Jason was savagely attacked outside the bar and was left with a severe concussion. When Jason recovered, he found that he was able to easily visualize the most complex of mathematical and physical concepts, something that even other mathematical geniuses struggle with. Before that, Jason hadn't even done college math. Doctors have no explanation for why his brain just randomly decided to evolve, and they say it was like he was struck by genius.
That is actually, obviously he just explained how it's a thing, but no, there is a thing of savantism, and I think it was like, you can either be born with savantism or you can have it happen to you, basically. You can have some kind of traumatic brain injury that it connects some kind of neural pathway. They're not exactly sure how it works, but to be born into it, I think it's like 1 in 1,000 children are born autistic. I believe these are the numbers, don't quote me, I could be wrong, but I believe it was 1 in 1,000 roughly are born autistic, and then of those children that are born autistic, it's 1 in 10,000 are born with savantism. Or maybe it's 1 in 100,000, I don't remember, but it's 1 in a lot. It's like super rare to be born with savantism. But you can also have a traumatic brain injury, and there's like, and it's even more rare to be in that, have some kind of traumatic injury and then have it like click into your brain. But that's one case of it, and I think the estimate was there's about 50 in the world, so it's super rare. So don't go out there trying to headbutt walls thinking you're going to become a savant, because it's probably not going to work. It's just going to cause you a lot of pain and misery. So don't do that, and it will probably do the opposite of what you're trying to do. Don't do that. CTE is much more common than savantism, I promise you.
This woman received mysterious calls for months before something terrible happened. In 1980, Dorothy Jane Scott began receiving threatening calls from an unidentified man. It got so bad she started taking karate classes and contemplated buying a gun. But then on May 28, 1980, coworkers witnessed her car recklessly speeding out of a parking lot. The next day, her car was found burning in an alleyway with no one inside. Then a week after her disappearance, her parents began receiving mysterious phone calls from a man that were too short to be traced. They got a phone call almost every Wednesday afternoon. This went on for 4 years, until Dorothy's skeletal remains were found buried along with the bones of a dog. After her remains were recovered, her parents received one last phone call from the man who said, "Is Dorothy home?"
Some of Hollywood's greatest conspiracy theories. These cap or fact,
love this
you may
one.
never know. Rumor has it Stevie Wonder may not be blind.
I talked about this before.
How could he perfectly operate this camera? Sources say O.J. Simpson could be Khloe Kardashian's father.
That's facts.
Chemistry here is off the charts. And if Tupac died, why was his photo taken 1 day after his alleged murder? Is Nicolas Cage really just a Civil War era vampire? Most likely. Is Jay-Z just a time traveler from the Harlem Renaissance? Most likely, yes. And did Gucci Mane really go from running the trap to running track? Or was he cloned in a Georgia jail cell? Who knows?
3 theories about 3 well-known brands. Theory 1. Starbucks employees are told to intentionally misspell your name so you share a picture of your cup on social media, and when you post it, you're just giving them free advertisement. Number 2. Dasani, which is owned by Coca-Cola, is considered one of the worst water brands out there. Why is that? Well, there's a theory that they add salt and other chemicals to their water, thus making you more thirsty, so you will buy more water. Next time you're at a movie theater, sports game, or amusement park, see what kind of water they sell. Chances are it's Dasani. Theory number 3. Well, this one's not really a theory, but it's more of a fucked up fact. Nestle started out as a baby formula company. And in 1970s, when Nestle was trying to grow its baby formula market around the world, they paid fake medical professionals to promote their formula. In Asia and Africa, Nestle hired saleswomen dressed as nurses to give out free medical advice and free samples of formula. These samples lasted just long enough for mothers to stop producing milk naturally, which resulted in them becoming dependent on the formula.
Alright, a lot of people have requested I do this, so here's the mystery of the Pan Am Flight 914. This is probably one of the most bizarre mysteries I have ever heard of. On July 22nd, the flight Pan Am 914 was departing from New York to Miami. It was carrying 57 passengers and 4 crew members. There was nothing unusual about the flight and it took off at its scheduled time. But then, it lost signal midway through the flight. And there was no indication that anything went wrong, there was no crash, no bodies found, and they just said that okay, it probably crashed in the ocean. Now this is where it gets fucking crazy. After 37 years, it landed. Juan de la Corte, this man made contact with the plane 37 years after it went missing. The pilot literally said, "We are Pan American Airways Flight 914 from New York to Miami with a crew of 4 and 57 passengers. We were scheduled to land at 9:55 a.m. on 2nd July 1955.
Now what the fuck? Let me get this back over here. What was it? Pan Am flight disappeared, reappeared 30 years later, landed. Let's see if we can find this. I want to find some information. Pan Am flight 914. Claims that this same aircraft landed again 3 decades later. The stories remained popular in the internet, features on channels like Brightside. Alex alleges that a Pan Am, well, this says 57 passengers and 6 crew members disappeared without a trace. On a flight from New York City to Miami, July 2nd, 1955, blah, 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 blah. Several fact checkers have proven this was a mislead from the Weekly World News, a newspaper known for its made-up stories, which was published 3 times in 1985, 1993, and 1999. The alleged image of the plane is a photo of the TWA, Trans World Airlines DC-4. The photo of the alleged eyewitness, a Venezuelan air traffic controller, shows different people in the various articles of the Weekly World News. Furthermore, there are no contemporary sources of the incident in the press or the Civil Aeronautics Board accident reports. Furthermore, there is no indication in any of the full production lists for the DC-4 that such an event took place on any of the 1,000. That's just what they want you to think. Yeah, Wikipedia can't be trusted, even though it's audited and monitored by leagues and leagues of expert people on the topic, historians and fact checkers. But no, I mean, honestly, if you were a company that owned a plane that disappeared and then reappeared 30 years later, you probably don't want that connected to you, and you probably would deny that that ever happened. That being said, it said it was in the, Public World News? Weekly World News. Sorry, Public World News. Yeah, and they're like clearly a tabloid. It calls itself a tabloid. The Weekly World News is a tabloid. Just go to their website just to see what they have posted today. 5 tips for selling your soul to the devil. Santa hires outside protection this year. Scientists created a time machine that eliminates Mondays. Vikings express dismay at not being invited to Thanksgiving. Alien encounter fashion tips. Ooh. Alright. Beam up in style and pass the interstellar vibe check. Sick. 13 most dangerous demons. That could be. Honestly, some of this kind of sounds interesting, not gonna lie. but like, obviously, cursed texts left untranslated. Dude, I'm just gonna make videos of all of these topics for Weekly World News. It's so funny to see a tabloid as like as a website, you know. It very much. And this guy looks like a guy that I know, but it's not. Yeah. So it is the Weekly World News. Those were some of their current articles they're pressing. They're pushing. So take that as you will. Actually, just real quick, last thing for who owns Weekly World News. David Pecker. Really? His name's David Pecker. The Financial Times lists him as David Pecker, the publisher who made a Trump fanzine. It's funny. University and Lubin School of Business. Okay. Let's just see. David J. Pecker. Early life. Oh, okay. Well, look, he's not like a Nepo baby or anything, unless the story is fake, but says his father was a bricklayer who died in 1967 when Pecker was 16, and to support his mother, he started bookkeeping for local businesses. So, he's like a self-made man, I'll give him that. And he's friends with, it's like one of the big notes is that he's, on his Wikipedia, is that he's friends with Trump. That's like one of the biggest things he's known for. There's a whole section called involvement with Donald Trump. So, look, I'm not a fan of Trump, but I'm not a fan of any politician at all. I think it's weird that people are fans of politicians. You shouldn't like someone that much. You should hold them accountable for their actions and treat them as a servant to the public, because that's what they are. But that's just me. I don't know. But I do think we need to have conversations and be open and allow other people to have differences of opinions in us. But at the same time, I can understand the rhetoric of like, yeah, but if your opinion is hateful or it calls for my ceasing to exist, then, you know, I can't really have a conversation with that because that's true. And I can't really relate to that. So unless you count the assault on masculinity, which I'm sure some of you do. So, you know, but I don't really feel any effects of that. That hasn't really affected me. I've lived a perfectly fine life, and I've had plenty of advantages for being who I am. So, you know, that's tight, and I appreciate it. So, I'm rambling and probably losing some of y'all. So, I'm gonna stop. What do you mean there's nuance and depth to your personality, and you're not this person that I put you in this box to be? Yeah, exactly. I'm a freaking human being, just like you guys, and I have differences in opinions. It's fine. Let's allow that. All right. Yeah. So we'll probably get into more of that in the future because, you know, that's what these conspiracies bring out of me, I guess. It does suck that it sucks. I hate that conspiracies have gotten so politicized. Politicized? Political. Politicized? Is politicized a word? I don't know. I hate that conspiracies have gotten to be such a political topic, though, because it used to be a place where we would come to, like, put our opinions and political beliefs and all that at the door and be like, what is the truth? That was what was the most important. Just the truth, not which side was doing what or whose side was doing the worst thing. But we wanted the truth about what all of these slimy freaking creeps are doing in running political offices and local offices and running corporations and all of it, you know? And now it's more of just like a whose side is doing the worst stuff. And I don't like that. We need to get away from that. So that's what I'm trying to do is, like I've said before, I probably don't align with what you might think I do politically, because I don't really align with anything politically. I have opinions that fall on both sides of the aisle, as I'm sure many of you do. And I think that's most of America. I think most of us have, and trust me, I'm never trying to get into political stuff, so that's not what this series is going to be. But yeah, we're just focusing on the truth. That's all I want. I want to know the truth of these things. And some of these will probably spark longer videos because some of these things were super interesting that I already want to do longer videos on. So if any of them I ever touch on or talk about a little bit and you guys want to hear more about, or you have suggestions of what kind of conspiracies you'd like to see me cover, let me know and I can squeeze them into videos and make that happen. That being said, every Sunday I'm going to rotate. So I'll do like the close calls and the conspiracies, and I think I'm going to do a live stream. I'm going to get those going again. But yeah, so these will all be like once a month, and I'll keep them rotating. And yeah, whenever I can, whenever I have more time to do more, I'll probably start doing more per week. But for now, it'll be every Sunday. And then you can catch me every Tuesday and Thursday for my creepy TikToks reaction. So, and all of them at 4:15 p.m. PST. Tight. So if you have any suggestions or comments, concerns, or thoughts on anything we've covered today or anything you'd like to see me cover in the future, definitely let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, be sure and give it a like so I know you guys like these videos. Definitely helps me know. Definitely helps the algorithm and gets my videos out to more people, and that's very much appreciated. I appreciate all the support so far. I've been growing pretty steadily and lost a few of you along the way, and that's okay. So I'm not going to vibe with everyone forever. But yeah, I don't know. But to everyone sticking around, appreciate you. Let's have some open conversations and get to the bottom of these things for sure, because a lot of these conspiracies need to be brought to light. So until next time, every Tuesday and Thursday at 4:15 p.m. PST, seek the truth. I don't know. It feels weird to say out loud. I like it on my logo, but remember, we're always seeking the truth. Bang.